Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the ET Whisperer Patreon call-in channeling show. Today is January 29th, 2023. It is 9:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we've started pretty much on time. And we've got a very special show for you tonight. What you're doing here, we're obviously live to the public right now on multiple platforms. And this is a glimpse into the world of Patreon. People that support the ET Whisperer on Patreon, twice a month we have a private channeling session. On one of those, it's a special monthly poll where the people who support Rob on Patreon will suggest topics, and then we as a group will vote on them, and the winner will be the topic that is channeled about for that particular show, and Rob will bring in Treb or Aridif or sometimes a different entity consciousness and talk about that particular topic. The second show of the month is one that we call Patreon Monthly Question and Answer, and that is what you're witnessing tonight, where if you're supporting the ET Whisperer on Patreon, you get to submit a question, and then at that particular show, the questions will be randomly drawn and then asked to a particular being of your choosing, and that is how we provide value for the people that support Rob on Patreon. So tonight, and I don't want to go too far afield, but tonight is a special night, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. I'm going to bring in right now, before we go any further, everybody's favorite ET Whisperer, Mr. Rob Gauthier. Hello, Rob.
Hey, William. How are you doing, brother?
I am energized. There's nothing like the feeling of live broadcasting.
I love it, and I love the support we've been getting here, guys. Thank you, guys, for everybody coming. I want to thank all of you guys, my personal Facebook, the ET Whisperer Facebook, the ET Whisperer YouTube channel #2, and of course all of our people at the ET Whisperer main channel. I want to say hello. If you guys see me in the chat on the main channel under the Enlightenment Evolution Network, that's me. William will be the ET Whisperer for tonight. He has to, so he can handle live stream aspects of it. But we're here tonight for the Patreon last of the month call. And the reason we're doing this live today is that this is a special call. And I know William said he's going to talk a little bit about it. So go ahead, brother. Let everybody know why we're doing this today and why we're doing it live.
Well, basically, you were unavailable the entire month of December. Just one tragedy after another falling on the House of Gauthier. We were unable to do everything that we needed to do in December, so we had to move everything over to January. And I said, you know, Rob, it's been such an inconvenience with, I mean, obviously Rob's apartment being flooded is the major inconvenience, but it's been an inconvenience that we haven't been able to do the show either. Like, maybe we should just go live for absolutely everybody and really knock it out of the park for January. It's a new year, first of all, and this is kind of a New Year's gift to you guys out there.
Yeah, and this new year, like every new year, is always a change and a shift of energy. And this Patreon having 4 sessions in 1 month is incredible. It's a nice start to the new year, but it also shows a lot of energy of what's going to be going on later on this year. I've been letting people know as I go that by probably April or May, the ET Whisperer personal sessions on the website will be down, and we will be doing courses work instead, group sessions, Patreon. We're going to try to move those to 3 a month or 4 a month instead of 2, and we're going to be doing a lot more coursework. For those of you guys who have not had a chance to see the course for the ET Whisperer sexuality course, John Craig, a good friend of mine, made magic happen and helped create this extremely beautiful course of sexuality. And it's something that is really amazing and something that is extremely potent and was helpful to everybody on multiple levels. So I just wanted to make sure he got his love for all the stuff that he did. And I want to say hi to everybody in the chat room real quick. I see you, Sally, on Facebook. Thank you for coming. I see whole bunch of people on the main YouTube channel. We got Tat in the house, the Adam Twister. We got Clarence, hello. We got Omni Collective, hello. Typo Hero, hello. Tracy Gamer, hello. We've got Corinne, hello. We've got the Enlightenment Evolution Network, which is me. We've got Kevin Goodman, hello. We've got Wallanair Blue, hello. We got Spirit of Trees, hello. We've got Valerie, William's sister. Hello, hello. It's nice to see you here. And we've got Joe Grace. So that is just the beginning of who we've got here tonight, guys. And we're really excited to have all of you guys here, too. So thank you for being here.
Yes, and the Atom Twister says, "Hello, Rob. You guys did an amazing job with that healing sexuality course." Yeah, I don't want to oversell it or anything, but it has been. We'll say approaching middle age, and it still has given me new perspectives on sexuality that I had never had before, as Aridif always seems to be able to do with whatever topic he's handling. And not only was that one great, I just found out myself last night that you guys are almost ready to put out a new course on how to channel.
Yeah, it's literally just has an announcement time that we're going to be announcing in the next day or two, and one more little addition to it, and a little bit of tightening up on some things that we've got. But yeah, it's almost ready to go already. And those of you who had a chance to be parts of my channeling classes, we've got a lot of techniques from there being implemented. But this course is going to be a more wholesome course that kind of has everything all in one place for everyone. And then whoever's a part of the live course is going to be able to do the Q&A too, which will be really amazing. So it's going to be something fun. I'm excited about it, not just because the course is a new way for me to put more energy of the channeling out to the collective, a new way for me to, create financial energy for my family, but it's also a beautiful thing because the course, I've never had the opportunity besides in my live workshops, which always could only hold 20 people because we kept small venues to keep intimacy. And, in a live thing with 3 days, 8-hour days, 3 of the 8-hour days. So, 24 hours worth of things in 3 days. It would have been exhausting for more than 20 people. But those are the only groups of people so far that were able to get one subject with Trevor Aridif channeling or both of them plus other entities and actually be able to cover the whole topic, not just a little piece of it, not just a little part of it, not just a really good chunk here or there like we do in Patreon and like people do in their personal sessions, but extensive multiple hours on one subject, which is always fascinating. And I look at the channelers who are the greatest ones out there. In my mind, Jane and Seth Roberts' greatest channeling ever. They have subjects that are comprehensive. You can go across multiple books and read about one subject, and you can learn everything you need to know about that. I think it's beautiful that that's finally come to my own channeling.
It is, yes. I've always left somehow wanting more. Whenever I have a private session of my own, or whenever I'm hosting the show and we're dealing with interesting topics, and it ends, it's like, I'm just left at the edge of my seat. Literally, sometimes, literally, like I'll find myself hunched over the computer, just listening to Aridif and Treb talking about a particular topic, and then it's over. I'm like, my God, I wish I had more of that. So, it's really great. I want to bring a couple of things that I wanted to mention right now. First of all, the Atom Twister says, "Rob, I want to sponsor you." I'm assuming he's talking to you and not me. He says, "I want to sponsor you. I cannot get Patreon to work for me, unfortunately, but I want to go ahead and work with you so you can do more live sessions like this one." So I guess get in touch with the Atom Twister whenever possible. Patreon has been a little bit wonky. And the other thing is, guys, speaking of Patreon, those of you that are Rob's patrons, you are the only ones that are able to call in tonight. And as of right now, we have exactly one person waiting. Now, it still is a little bit premature to call in, but the strength of the show tonight hinges upon you guys calling in. If we don't get enough patrons, we are going to send the link out to the general public, and then things could get wild. So if you're one of Rob's regulars, if you want to call in tonight, don't be shy, guys. I know we're out live with the whole world tonight, but we do this twice a month. We're an intimate group of people here. You'll really just imagine that you're talking to me. You guys know me. Don't be afraid to call in. It's going to be an interesting time, providing that you guys help and work with us.
Yeah, and we're going to keep the formula simple, just like we do on all the open forums that we do for free on YouTube, and just like every month, the Q&As on Patreon, except we're going to do it with your voice. And when you do it with your voice, we're going to ask you guys, hey, can you tell us your name or a nickname if you don't want to give your real name out? And can you tell us who you want to channel, Aridif or Treb? Who are you asking this question to? and then your question, and try to make your question as short and concise as you can without having questions inside of questions inside of questions, because that ends up taking so much time for Treb and Aridif to answer. And we want to get as many people as we can in here. Hopefully, we'll be able to fill it up with our Patreon people. And if not, it does go to the public. So if you guys are there on Facebook, either of the two Facebook pages or either of the two YouTube pages, hang in tough, because you might get the link tonight too to call in.
Yes, and Kalina just dropped by to say hi and bye. Lily is up and love to us all. Thank you, Kalina.
Hey, Mama, thank you for taking care of baby. Yeah, we thought we had her down tonight right on time, and she pops back up. That's not uncommon in our world. So thank you, Mama, for taking care of that. Hello, everyone coming in who's new. Hello. We see all of you guys coming in. We appreciate you guys being here. I don't know how many people are in the main YouTube, because I only have the numbers on the secondary channels, but it seems like quite a bit of you.
We have 18 concurrent viewers, but only 11 likes also. So hit that like button, guys, wherever you are watching out there.
There you go. That's a great idea. And when it comes to having as many people as we do in the chat room, just like that like, and just like the comments that you leave after the video is done, if you use the chat room and you like using the chat room, it actually helps the algorithms too. So that's amazing. You guys can pop in there and say what you want. Say hi to everyone else. Say hi to us. We try to keep an eye on the chat all night.
Right. And also, I'd like to say, if you're chatting with us on YouTube, notice in the chat box right above where it's chatting, it will either say top chat or live chat. If it says top chat, you are wrong. You have to click on it, make sure that it says live chat. And I say that you're wrong, only kidding around. But what that does is that YouTube filters out some of your comments for some reason. We say this every time we do a show. So if you want the full chatting experience, make sure that your box says live chat, and then you'll be able to see everything going on.
Yeah, and as weird as that is, it definitely, you do miss out on something. When William first said that, I was like, well, maybe it just puts them out of order and makes the ones that are more important go to the top, like, in social media, some pages. No, there's actually whole comments that disappear when you have the top chat on instead of the live chat, which is crazy.
Yes, it's a drastic difference, and it makes the conversation seem disjointed sometimes because you're only getting a portion of it.
Absolutely. And I do want to let all of our Patreon people know we've got 3 people here waiting, plus me and William in the call room. If it reaches 10 people, that's the maximum. So if you're there and you can't get in, just keep trying. After people ask their question, we're going to have them leave this room so that someone else can get in. So if you do get in and you're on the question, as soon as your question's done, please jump off, go back, and you'll be able to hear yourself ask the question as well as hear the answer on the listen link that we gave.
And this will be available for posterity. You'll be able to access this again in the future. Let's see.
Hello to my beautiful Australian brother, Rec Awning. Hello, how are you, brother? It's nice to see you here. Glad to see you here on my secondary YouTube channel. Hello.
Yes, and where I'm at, Edith has just joined in saying hi there. And Kara says, hey, everyone, I just got out of work. What did I miss? 8 hours of the day. No, here, as far as here, though.
8 hours.
No, as far as here, we have not really kicked off anything yet. We're just talking about why we're here, what's going on, some of the interesting coursework that Rob and John are working on. And we've got other things happening too. The Oniranaut, you're going to be, again, as you're moving away from private sessions for people, and we can't stress that enough, guys, Rob is not going to be nearly as accessible for one-on-one things because there are, we'll say, grander plans at work. There's the coursework. We're working on a television series that hopefully will get out the door sooner than later, and possibly yet another television series after that. So things are really cooking back here.
Yeah, I'll be doing a lot of live events too. I'm going to be doing a lot of live local ones. So anyone who's in the Midwest, we've got a hotel right down the road from us, which is right downtown Kalamazoo, that will give us amazing deals because we're local, because I know the guy who runs it. And we'll be doing ones there. Maybe even once a month we'll do something here in Michigan. And then we're going to hit our normal places like we do, Asheville and North Carolina. We might hit Chicago, and we might hit areas like Florida, Sedona this year. And our channel panel is going to happen this year too. So it's going to be busy. And in order to have the time to do all of that with the new baby, and this is why you haven't seen me active for 3 years, is because we haven't been able to do it. But now it's at a point where we're going to be able to do that, and we are able to just pop the kid in the van with us and drive where we need to, or fly where we need to, or whatever the case is. But we're going to be doing that in the time that my son's at his mom's, and we're going to have a really exciting year this year. So if you guys enjoy the channeling, want to see it live, want to see the course, want to see all of that, that's wonderful, because that's where we're going to be putting the majority of our energy, well, all of our energy, probably after April. So April, May will be the transition date. And it's good to do that, because every year at the beginning of the year, something changes about the ET Whisperer. Every year. It has not failed since 2010, when I started publicly channeling. Every January, my birthday comes 10 days after Christmas. Then my break for that time is over between Christmas Eve and the weekend after my birthday. And then something changes. Sometimes, it was only 30-minute sessions, then only hour sessions, then both, and then donations, and then all sorts of other things have grown and changed this year, or changed throughout the whole time I've been channeling publicly. And this is going to be another one. I'd really like to get more energy and attention to Patreon too. And make this a place where everyone can come to hear a lot of new channeling. The one thing too about Patreon that most of the people who are there really say that they like is going back into the 5 years of archives that we have. That's 2 times 5 years, which is 12 months each. So that's 24 per year, 24 per year times 5. So that's almost 125 channelings that have never been heard publicly, or very few of those have been heard publicly.
Right. And we have a good time there because it's such an intimate group. I did want to say both Edith and Kim are here. Kim says, how do we get in the call room if we have a question? And Edith says, yes, just trying to figure out if there's a link somewhere to get into the live. Hello, guys. So if you wanted to give that information out again while I go top off my Cafe Bustelo Espresso.
Yeah. So if you guys are a part of Patreon, which I know, yeah, both of you guys are, go back to Patreon. We just dropped a link on Patreon to join us. So if you can go back to your Patreon and join in that link, you can join in the call. If for any reason our Patreon calls dry up, we will start doing the public. Thank you, Nancy Pants, for the donation. I appreciate it hugely. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. I appreciate it more than you know. If for any reason the Patreon calls dry up, we will be going to the public with questions, and we will post that link in the chat and on a pinned comment, but probably just keep spamming it in the chat so that everyone has access to it, or pin it to the top as a top comment for the chat. So if you are a part of Patreon, jump in there, grab that link, and join us. We still have a few spaces left in our live call. And if for any reason at all, this room fills up with 10 people, then you will have to wait. And as soon as people are done with their question, they're going to jump right out of here so that it makes room for another caller. But I think we're really good so far. So,
all right. I'd like to recognize you got a super chat from Nancy Pans. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate you as well.
Yes, I did see that, and I appreciate it very much, Nancy. You're great. I very, very much appreciate it.
Actually, Rob, a point of order. I actually do not have the link, and I assume that I'm going to need it. If you could send it to me over on private messenger, in case it's time to whip it out to the public.
Okay, let me see. Is that the one I did? No. Okay, I got it. No worries. No, I just wanted to make sure because I did put one in private chat for you, but that was for the course. If you needed the link for the course too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the link right there, brother. All right. We're looking at almost a full house. Look at that. They said we got 2 or 3 more people, and we will be a full house here. All right. I want to. Did you ever talk to John to see if he's going to come in and chat with you?
No, but I can carry a room.
Yeah, well, Yeah, I thought too. John might want to jump in, but yeah, I
All in
definitely got.
divine timing. All in
That's it.
divine timing.
Yeah, if John needs to be here, he'll be here for sure. Yeah, John, if you're listening, William said that he was wanting to have you jump in on the neutralizing time if you wanted to and chat a little bit about your experiences with the creation of courses and the energy of what you learned from them and all that good stuff, and have you guys have a good chat about it. So if you're there, you can jump in on call too. Let me see. I think that's it. I mean, I really normally on Patreon we talk a lot during the experience, but we've got so many people here waiting,
Hmm.
and I want to be able to channel as much as I can tonight too.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna be jumping in just a minute or two to my neutralizing.
No, that works. I don't want to flip the script or anything, but being that it is the new year, do you think Ardif might have a word or two to say to the public about that?
Yeah, I mean it's very possible. I don't think there was any channelings from this year that started at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I don't think he really shared anything about that. Yeah, Valerie, please tell Bear we said hello too, and we send him our love. Yeah, so that yeah, I mean that would absolutely be fine. I think that would be a great idea.
Okay.
I'm trying to see the chats. Yeah, this new year, guys, I want to hear your experiences. Everyone who's in the chat, please share what your experiences have been with this new year so far. Is it what you expected so far? I know it's only a month in, that's not a long time. How was the energy feeling from January 1st till now? How's the energy feeling now? Are some of the goals that you guys have been feeling, working, intuiting, have those landed for you? Are they landing? All of that. Let me know how you're feeling in that way, guys, and let us know a little bit about how that goes.
Yes, we had those of you that are more astrology minded. We had Mercury retrograde in Capricorn up until I actually can't remember. I think early, basically the middle of January, about a week or two ago. Mercury was retrograde in Capricorn, and that, as you know, is my sign and Robin Kalina's sign as well. Capricorn rules business and structures and things like that, and I definitely felt it. I'm not an astrologer per se, but dealing with the ET Whisperer has gotten me more interested in astrology as well as other channelers. So it was a very, very sluggish start for me, but things seems to be clicking right along at this point.
Absolutely, and that's the beautiful thing too about this year so far. It's for me, it's been moving really fast. Some a little scary in the fastness, but I actually really have enjoyed the benefits of what's been going fast and how crazy it's been.
Yeah, time has become very slippery. Valerie and I and Bear and I were talking about this earlier today over lunch, and Artifice talked about this also as we reach our fourth density. Well, we're in fourth density right now. He's been very clear on that. We've just yet to realize it. That time is going to do some very strange things, and I don't know if you guys have experienced time like that. I thought it was simply a phenomena of aging, getting older as an individual, which I'm sure some of that is true. But according to Art of Time, is going to be one of the first things we'll be able to manipulate and play with.
Yeah, that's one of the kind of the cornerstones to fourth density consciousness is time. And we've actually had a lot of people bringing up the fact that they've been feeling weird with time, like something that takes them 3 hours feels like it's done in 20 minutes. Things that have been, felt like 20 minutes actually took them 3 hours, that they're feeling like they're skipping things in time or losing time. And that's actually a very, very much a part of the fourth density energy. Um, it's something that Treb had been talking about all the way back in 2010 about fourth density consciousness and how that feeling of time shifts. So the basic energies for the fourth density consciousness are connections. That's the whole thing. And I just shared this, reshared a graph that a guy put together from an old graph that was put together about densities and dimensions from Treb's perspective. And of course, there are different densities and dimensions that some people perceive, but this is how Treb breaks it down in his race. In fourth density, you're connecting to other things, and it's not just people. Usually, it manifests first as your own people on your planet, your human race. Then it would connect to experiences to bring that collective to a better place. Then you would connect to the technology or inner technology, outer technology. Then you'd connect to other races. Then you'd connect to a more galactic society. And then you would start your fifth density journey, a few thousands lives or maybe a few hundred. I'm not really sure what the standard is on that, but I've heard races that have gone through a couple hundred lifetimes in fourth density, and some that go through multiple thousands of lifetimes, tens of thousands, like humans do here on Earth in third density. So I'm not really sure what the standard is for fourth density evolution, but that's how it works. And apparently it's been happening with some of you guys. I'm looking through too to read. Kevin said it's been a very positive year with lots of good things happening. The energy on the planet still feels very chaotic and keeps trying to pull me into drama. That is a huge thing that's been going on for a ton of people. Almost everyone I've talked to who's gone through the beginning of this year has mentioned the kind of craziness that they feel with a lot of the energies that happen with the Earth right now. And it's like a continuation of 2020 and 2021. But William and I were talking last night on our Patreon, and it was something that was actually very special and very important. And and this is something William's been sharing a lot about that he's been doing. And what's your trick to getting the energy to kind of feel a lot more smooth, brother?
Oh, cut adrift from society and become a total individualist. It's not possible for everybody, but I mean, it is possible for everybody. But what I do, I live in a very small rural colonial town. I'm broadcasting to you from Fincastle, Virginia. And this is some messages that I've heard from other channelers as well. Try and mitigate your exposure to technology to whatever possible. Get back to very simple ways of existence as much as possible. I understand it's not necessarily feasible to get rid of technology for everybody all the time. I know it's certainly not in my business. But the amount of time that you can spend with yourself and with the people you know and love, cut away all of the, we'll say, mass propaganda, the mass programming that comes from the outside world, whatever that means to you personally. Because it occurred to me, just a little bit about myself. For years, I did a very heavy political show, very heavy energy, political hardball to a level that I can't believe that I ever was involved in. And it burns you out.
You went hard.
I went very hard, and I had the numbers to back it up. I was getting quite the views before YouTube nuked me. But the point is, it occurred to me one day walking around Little Fincastle, Virginia, and it's picturesque. It's like one of those postcard cities. A lot of the stuff here predates the Revolutionary War. It's that old. When I walk around my town, there's a little Mennonite market not too far from the studio that I'm sitting in. The courthouse was designed by Thomas Jefferson. And if you don't have your phone on you or you're tuned into the media, I get to walk around, interact with other living human beings, say hello to my neighbors, work on cutting my grass, do outdoor activities. And if you have any type of awareness at all, if you're on the spiritual path, even the slightest, you realize that that's how you find peace, is by integrating it into your daily life. Don't worry about things that are happening half a world away from you. When I turn off the media and I turn off the news and all the noise going on outside, at face value, I'm living in a tiny little colonial town where nothing bad ever really happens, and you can talk to other people and interact with nature and the earth. So that's what's doing it for me. You guys may have another road to paradise. I know not everybody's living in a little colonial town. But and I know some of you are younger, but if you're older, you remember the world before technology. Getting back to that, I have found, has been key. Avoiding the devices to whatever extent possible, and just being with yourself. And can you be with yourself? That's something you might find out also, is that maybe you're not quite ready to sit with yourself.
Yeah, I think that has as much relevance, if not more, than just staying away from technology in general. Technology is one of the dual edged
Mm,
swords that we have here on Earth. Something that's very beautiful that can enhance the quality of life around the world with technology and science and medicine and all the things that it can do great thing. Like, before, if your heart went out of rhythm, you're dead.
mm,
You die. There is no more you. Now you can put a machine in there that paces the rhythm for it and keeps you alive 10, 20, 30 years longer, right? Amazing. But the internet itself has been used as a device to create divisiveness, because back in the days, and I knew one day I was going to say back when I was young.
mm,
So here it is. Back when I was a kid, um, you saw your neighbors and you didn't get to know them like you do with social media now. But social media also has a lot of fakeness to it. It's got a lot of projections of people and what they would want to be instead of who they really are.
mm,
But there is a whole aspect of getting to know people, and people who are more open and honest on social media. You get to know what they're eating every day. Back when we were young, you didn't know what someone was eating unless you're sitting next to them or unless you had to talk about it. That's just
mm,
how it worked. So now we have this very open experience where everyone's plugging in and everyone wants to be heard and everyone wants to obtain information at a huge level. And people whose lives are served by us fighting each other, by people not getting along, by people who don't do good to the human collective, and who are better off not having us mad at them for what they do, taking everything in existence and mistreating the planet and pitting us against each other, well, that's why they would pit us against each other, because it's easier for them to do what they do without our focus. If we're worried about the paycheck, if we're worried about how many likes we get on our Facebook post, if we're worried about, who's on our Discord server or anything that happens in that way. So that whole thing about being by yourself, we haven't had to have that now in over 10 years, 20, almost 20 years at this point. 96 is when 94, 95 was when internet became pretty accessible for most everybody.
mm.
Well, 90, probably up until 97, it was for more middle class people, I would say. But
Right.
after that, it became pretty accessible for everyone. So at that point, um, a lot of us haven't had to sit with ourselves. We get bored, we get anxious. What do? We pop on TikTok videos, a minute a piece, fry our brain up with, how to flip an egg. And yes, that is interesting sometimes. And yes, you can learn a lot from that sometimes. But a lot of time we're just using it as a tool so we don't have to be with ourselves.
Right. And Treb and Aridif, their message is fundamentally the same as any of the great entities that have been channeled, Seth and Bashar and things like that. You form your own reality. You can create your own reality down to the most minute detail, uh, providing you happen to be aware enough to do such a thing. And if you're not fully present in your body and you're not fully creating who you are, not only is there a chance that other forces could become interested in your body if you're not fully inhabiting it, there are forces out there that will keep you addicted to technology and steal your creative energy to help feed the mass narrative that they're trying to push, and getting you all worked up into a frenzy and a fear-based system, and you worry about what's going on in the world. Well, when that happens, you are now a part of the problem. You are now feeding into this horrible mass collective. Whereas if you have a very coherent auric field, you're aware of how your chakras are going, and you're aware that you're not letting things into your life that are intrusive and invasive. You have to be a deliberate creator if you want to create effectively.
You're right. And it's surprising to me when I went through this experience of having the baby. I tuned back into the earth. I had kept away from that earth energy for so long, like the news. Like I was always on social media, but I didn't actively look at other things. I just went there to share the things I wanted to share and whatever. but I dug deep and I was like, okay, I need to know what's going on around my planet, so that I can, have the best setup for my kid. It's an instinctive thing. It's very visceral and very primal. Any of you have kids understand that. So I felt almost required to go back into that energy really deeply.
Mhm.
And I say, I know I know the tricks that these guys use to get you upset and to get you, pissed off. I know what they use to get you to buy things. I understand propaganda really well, uh, and there's no way I'm going to fall for it. And I go in there, and what happens? I start seeing news, and I listen to the news, and I listen to these things, and then I start going, "What the hell are these people doing?"
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's it's not about how smart you are, how conscious you are. There, the programming is actually that it's a program, and it's interesting, William, what you had said about the binaural beats too.
Yes, they're misusing the word on the street is that they're more than the word on the street. As some of you may know, Rob learned how to channel using the Monroe Institute's Gateway Voyage, the HemiSync program. We've talked about it a number of times. I don't think it's worth revisiting here. If you don't know, look into Robert Monroe's HemiSync Gateway Voyage experience. But it's a system of binaural beats that Robert Monroe developed to help deal with the fact that he was having spontaneous out of body experiences, and he is the pioneer in this work. There's no doubt about it. He is well, he's no longer with us, but the work he did is still the ramifications of what he was doing in the 60s and 70s has not fully been understood, we'll say, by the general public. But what they're doing, Robert Monroe discovered that if you play certain barely audible tones, you can cause the brain to experience what's called a frequency following response. It's known as entrainment. The brain will want to mimic subtle patterns that are blasted at it through these different types of, we'll say, audio tones, for lack of a better term. And they're misusing this in the media and advertising and things like that to keep you in a fear state, so that while you're listening to advertisements or the news, they are subtly misusing Robert Monroe's technology to put your brain in a receptive state that they want it to be in. Whoever they are, I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Well, a lot of people right off the bat have heard stories. If you learn about scary movies, one of the most scary movies on the top 10 actually had a frequency that is well known to cause panic and fear playing in the background every time a scary scene happened. And it was a very low vibrational boom. And at that specific time, people ended up vomiting, using the bathroom in their pants. Like literally, the, people walked away from this movie because it was supposed to be that scary, and that was the technology enhancement along with the visual aid. So it's not, some people hear the Monroe Institute and they think, oh, that's kind of hokey pokey. Well, for me, it changed my life. It's what opened me up to get me to be able to connect with Treb the first time, and continue that pattern. But for people who are skeptical, go into binaural, go to a place that's a trusted place, like a Monroe Institute or Equisync, or some of the bigger ones out there today, and listen to one. Listen to one that's meant to make you relax, and see if it doesn't make you relax if you're having a stressful day. I mean, this is really powerful stuff, and the sciences, and that was kind of my point earlier too, when William was talking about being with yourself. When you're in that connected place with the internet, it has so many beautiful things to offer, but it also has so much of that there. I hate to say that because a lot of people, like when I heard 2 or 3 years ago, it's a war for the hearts and minds of people, and I kind of chuckled like they're being dramatic to get more views. No, it actually feels like people are having a tug of war with our consciousness now, and this is the first time that that's happened. It was easy to trick the mind back when the technology first started, and propaganda became a thing. Who's that crazy uh, uh, psychoanalyst who always did cocaine? Freud. Freud's nephew is the one who actually took Freud's psychology understanding and use that to start the first propaganda. And that's
Mm.
exactly how World War II became a part where people started using that heavily. And then after they saw the success it had in war with influencing enemy towns to lay down their weapons and retreat by giving them flyers that were worded a certain way, it just really showed them the power of sway from
Right.
repetitive actions.
And I want to go back to something Valerie said. Valerie is a licensed therapist, she says, and some of the kids I work with are spending 6 or more hours a day on their phones. These are kids, yes, they might even gain knowledge from doing such a thing, but they don't get real life experience. And that's something that I found, not to put my daughter on blast, but people my daughter's age, they've got all of this knowledge from being exposed to very adult things on the internet, but they have no life experience. And we're headed for, I'm not gonna, this isn't like doom and gloom kind of stuff, but we're headed for a time in humanity when these kids are older, when they're my age, like what's going to happen to them? They're not gonna be, well, I don't want to put that on them. They might turn out to be the best generation ever. But there are people out there that are using this technology. It's not even a secret. You could look up Operation Mockingbird for the propaganda that they put through the media. And you might have seen over the years, like the CIA documents, where the CIA infiltrated the Monroe Institute in the early 1980s. This is very much public information at this point. They declassified it in the 1980s, or they declassified it in the 90s, sorry, from the infiltration that they did in the early 80s, which is interesting because the Monroe Institute is open to the public. You leave it to the U.S. government to infiltrate an organization that's open to the public.
Yeah, that's free and open, right?
Right, but they validated everything that Monroe said in his report, and they said that he, down to being able to create reality, to enter other dimensions. And what did the first thing they wanted to do? How can we weaponize this? How can we use this to weaponize it? Is what they were looking for. So they wanted to take something wholesome, like the internet in many ways. This is something that actually Seth said this, and Aridif and Treb have alluded to this as well. Technology is always going to exist. It is a byproduct of our humanity. It is who we are. Human beings are always going to make tools of some kind. The tools will become more and more sophisticated, and it's always going to be with us. And so, whereas you see the internet now, we're out here to spread a message of love and hope with Rob's channeling. There are other people that use this very same technology to spread a message of fear and division. And it's always going to be like that, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the technology. Treb and Aridif have always said that technology is a manifestation of the person who's creating and using it, and always is, even though the external technology develops a consciousness of its own. And we had this whole AI talk last night on Patreon too, for those of you guys who haven't heard yesterday's. But that is definitely true. It's an expansion, an extension of our own consciousness. So if I have an intention to do right by other people and to help people, I'm going to be able to use that technology in a beautiful way, and vice versa. And that's the kind of thing I think that brought us into this whole conversation was William saying, can you be with yourself? Technology is deeply ingrained with us right now. For the first time in history ever, we have technology being as important or more important than those basic needs that we've always had as humans: to be safe, under a roof, to be fed, to have lovers, to have sex, to have family or friends or relationships, community. Now, technology has taken over some of those things for a lot of people, including friendship. A lot of people are like, I've got friends, they're on the internet. And I can understand that. We don't have a ton of friends around the area that we live either. Most of the people we know and love, we found on the internet too, because, you know, uh, the channeling itself is just something that's not real huge around here. But you have these pockets of things that are coming up like that, and all of a sudden now you can't really be with yourself without going back to visit that. So I think William did a good service to himself by being able to do that for as long as he has and committing to it. And from everything you've said, brother, sounds like the quality of your life has increased hugely.
It definitely has, but I'm thinking as you're saying this, you and I are contemporaries, Rob, in that we're basically the same age, born in 80, 81. Um, and I think about this like before. I spent the vast majority of my life I didn't have a smartphone until 2010. So I spent a good amount of time not having one. And I remember even years ago, before anything like that existed, you probably did the same thing. Say I'm just sitting down having breakfast in the morning. Well, what do? I read the same Captain Crunch cereal box 5 times. I'm just sitting there reading the cereal box,
Yeah.
not really thinking. And of course I was younger. And this was years before I found out about metaphysics and everything. But just the human tendency to want to be distracted. Like, how many times can you read a Captain Crunch cereal box?
Well,
I mean,
that's the old joke with the old guy going to the bathroom and taking his magazine with him type deal.
right. Well, at least back then, the distractions you had, you could read a book, and I don't know how many people are readers anymore. I love reading, and I still don't get enough of it because my schedule. But that is something I'm working on. I am doing more reading these days, not as much as I used to back in the day, but there's something very visceral about a paper book.
Well, I'm hoping too that everybody finds something that they really want to do or really have been excited to do but haven't been able to create a space for it. And I hope they work on that this year. And sometimes the way to that might be the sacrifices of the technology time that you spend with it, or the sacrifice of time you spend, connecting with friends or something. Wherever there's an excitement that's left undone, it really isn't going to serve you. That's why I'm shifting up a lot of energies towards the new excitements that I've got. That's why this year we've seen a lot of people still going through that, hoping not to get pulled into drama or the world affairs and trying to find their own realm. And I really think 2023 is the year of repositioning and readjustment. It's going to be something where we went through pretty much the last 3 years getting our lives uprooted, ripped out, thrown in the air, and said, haha, life isn't what you thought. And that's what most people have experienced, is just like, hey, everything in the world is not what you know, and everything has changed. And
Right.
that's frightening, but it also gives us the opportunity to do what we're doing now and choosing new things that we've always wanted to do, or that we were doing or had done but had to retreat for some reason. Whatever the case is, it brings unlimited aspects of possibility now.
Right. Well, I think that might be a good place to end. We have now talked longer than we normally do on our regular Patreon session.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
know.
a
I
good
just
time.
looked at the clock too. I was like, oh.
Yeah, we've been streaming now on my end for 47 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah.
So if there's anything else you want to touch on, now would be the time to do it. Otherwise, it's time to rustle up them space aliens.
Yeah. For all of you on Patreon, if you guys were waiting to come in to the call, come on in. And if you can't get in, that just means we're full. Keep trying. And once we run out of people in here, and we will ask you after you ask your question, please make sure you leave the meeting room and go back to the YouTube link to listen. But if this empties out, guys, everyone in the public, we will definitely set the link out and pin it to the top of the YouTube chat, where it will be there permanently, and you guys can come into and join us. I'm going to neutralize it. It takes me about 10 minutes, sometimes a little longer. I will leave you in the hands of a very capable William while I'm gone. And thank you, brother, for being here. Thank you for doing this as always.
This is a good time. I love you too, Rob. This is great. This is peak William right here. I'm doing live streaming. I love this. But yes, go ahead and neutralize. Make sure you mute yourself on your end, since we're doing multiple streams tonight. I can't control all of your muting.
It's already done.
All right. Well, we will see you in a little short while, Rob.
All right, brother. Thanks again. Thank you guys too in the chat for being super active. I really appreciate that. Oh, Kalina's back. Hello, hello. Oh, yes, I heard Lily going a little crazy. She's up partying. All right. Well, Lily's joining us in the background, guys. So if you hear some screaming, little Lilith is there to play. So I'm gonna go neutralize, guys. I love you. See you in 10 minutes. Thank you, brother. We'll see you when I'm done.
All right. See you soon. Okay, guys. I'm going to show you something here real quick that Rob and I are working on. You may not have seen this if you're not part of the regular Patreon community. This is a a project that we're working on. We're going to shop it around to different television stations, probably Gaia Television. We don't know whom yet, but we're going to be doing an 8-episode television series with the ET Whisperer. If you're not watching right now on YouTube, I'm sorry that you cannot see the visuals for this, but you can listen in and hear it. I'm going to play this for you guys while you, while I go get some more espresso, actually. Somehow I'm going to.
You probably don't know what an Onironaut is, but it's okay. You will. Your consciousness is not trapped in your head. It's free to travel anywhere, through time or in space. You just forgot how. The dream world is real too. And, if you get good enough, you can connect with other intelligent consciousness, other dreamers, or people who have since died. The people you meet might not even be people. Just ask Rob Gauthier. Rob enters a deep trance so that alien beings may borrow his body and use his voice to share their messages with us. That's why they call him the ET Whisperer. With Rob's help, along with the extraterrestrials that work with him, we will explore the unknown reality that surrounds us all. With enough practice, even you can become an Onironaut.
Okay, everybody, so there you go. That is a trailer for the Onironaut. And I guess now you do know what an Onironaut is if you were paying attention. Yes, that's something that Mr. Ian Kyle of Visualized Media put together, another background member of the ET Whisperer family here. Adam Twister says, yes, consciousness is priceless and timeless fundamentally, and that fact is the logical proof for existence of all things being fundamental. Yes, here. Corinne says, it's going to be the year of confusion. Who is telling the truth? Info from all sides, points of view, that will create confusion and discord, etc. It's part of the process before we integrate. Yes, I had this discussion actually with Ian, the gentleman that made that trailer that I just showed you. He is, shall we say, taking baby steps towards the metaphysical world. I don't want to tell too much about the man and his personal journey, but he called me up today and he's been listening to Rob's work more and more frequently. He's like, you know, if Treb and Aridif are right, then that means there's not really an objective reality at all, is there? And I'm like, nope, not at all. Everybody has their own private universe. It was probably the biggest concept to wrap your head around. And then we come together, we're all forced to stew in the same pot, as it were. Thank you, Adam. Kara Khan says, yeah, I've been, makes me think of Kubla Khan when I think of that. It was a really great poem, I think, by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Kara Khan says, yeah, I've been on Twitter more than usual, too. My problem has been listening to YouTube. I think it's been making me feel less lonely. I need to stop avoiding life. Well, you know, there's something to say. I'm going to say, guys, now something that's almost the exact opposite of what I was saying earlier. Because for the longest time, you know, I have a 19-year-old daughter, and when I see her and people her age and her friends and everything, you know, they're always on their phones and everything. And people older than me will complain, these kids are always on their phone. They need to deal with people. And yes, that's true. But who do you think they're talking to on the phone? They're not talking to the phone. They're talking to other people. You know, it's like Rob, as Rob was saying earlier. I knew Rob I was doing Rob's show for like a year and a half before I ever even met him and Kalina in real life. We met in a parking lot in North Carolina somewhere for the first time. You know, so Rob had handed me this very extraordinary position of trust to administer his YouTube account, never having met me in the real world. You know, so that's the other thing about this. You know, you're not just listening to YouTube. There are people on YouTube creating content, and it varies in quality. You know, you could watch some cheap slasher film from the 70s with all kinds of blood and gore on the internet, or you could watch an episode of Arthur C. Clarke's World of Strange Powers or Mr. Wizard's World or something like that, you know, and actually learn a thing or two. The medium itself of television or the internet is not inherently good or bad. So, you know, don't be too hard on yourself either, guys, about these things. I thought I saw earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, the Adam Twister said that he liked to to program Minecraft and stuff like that. If technology gives you joy and you're not obsessively involved in it, I think that's the key, guys. If you're obsessively involved in something or not, or if you're just doing something through actual joy. That's a feeling that you can honestly tell if that's happening inside of yourself. Nancy says, in my opinion, the spiritual community needs to get involved with Twitter Spaces. The wide reach is endless, in my opinion. I don't know. Twitter is cancer. I mean, in my opinion. Of course, I spend too much time on Twitter also. That is the one social media thing I have. Even though I don't have the internet at my house anymore, I do have my cell phone. I run an ATM business, which is highly technical, actually. And when I'm doing business, I absolutely have to have a cell phone. I need to access either a cell phone or I got to carry around a laptop or a tablet with me. But I have to access banking and online records for how the ATMs are processing. And Twitter is one of the things that I started getting back into it because of the Twitter files that were being released and all the things going on there. Let's see. Bear the Wizard, welcome to the Room of Requirement. You have not entered, you have not left. You merely are. The room is you and will provide you with all your requests from it. So what have you asked for? Let's see. The Atom Twister says, I can connect to anyone at any time, even if not physically. All consciousness exists and therefore can be connected to. Proof again is the lack of fundamentally of linear time. So we're going to have an interesting time tonight, guys. We already have, and don't worry, Tracy, you're going to be up first because you were very eager to get into the chat room tonight. So be prepared, guys. When you've been called on, I will announce your name, the name that you've put in on StreamYard. I'll say, like, for instance, Tracy Flowerheart is going to be our first question. I'm going to say, Tracy Flowerheart, you are on the air with the ET Whisperer. What is your question? And then you give your question. Do not be nervous, guys. You're just talking to me. And the only people hearing you are, perhaps hundreds of thousands of others. But just focus on that. And once you get your question asked and we make sure that Treb or Aridif understand what you're asking, I'm going to get you out of the room. There's nothing personal about it. We just got to keep the flow of the show moving. Didn't sound right for a second, but we do have to keep the flow of the show moving. And I'm going to, after that question is answered, we'll move on to the next person. So, and I'm not sure who the next person is going to be right now. And if we run, as I said, if we run through all the Patreon people and they've got all their questions asked, we're going to turn the link loose to the world, which is interesting. For those of you who don't know, I have a background in radio. And the last time I did a live call-in show, I was on a radio station in 2002 in New York for an unrelated topic. And we were taking live callers. And live callers could be a wild time. Back then, any lunatic with a portable radio and a payphone could just call into the radio station, and then you have to deal with their madness. It was always kind of weird screening calls back in the day. So we're going to open it up to the general population and see what happens. Because right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 people waiting, and if those are the only people that show up tonight, it'll be a very short show indeed. So we're going to have to turn it over to the rest of these guys out there. Let's see. So we've got here, Kara says, I hope there's room for extra questions for us because I want to ask who was in the UFO outside of my window. Yes, that would be, if I were you, I would want to know the answer to that question as well. So it seems like a lot of you guys know each other. There's not really anybody in the chat room that I'm not used to seeing. Let's see, Spirit of the Trees. I'm not sure I've seen you around for a while. So yeah, 2023 is going to be a good time. I think that if you can just observe what's happening in the mass consciousness and take it all in without getting emotionally involved in the madness going on there. I think that you'll be better for it. And, if you've listened to any channeling at all, either Rob's or other people, part of the point of why we're here at this moment in time is to witness what is happening on the planet. That's been said by many channelers, that this is the place and time to be, right here, right now, on Earth, like that Jesus Jones song, right here, right now. There's no place I'd rather be. There are consciousnesses from many different realities participating in what's going on right now. Many different watchers and people from, not necessarily even people, but beings from other dimensions, extra-dimensionals, extraterrestrials, that want to see how things are playing out on planet Earth right now. This is the place to be, as Bashar says, actually, this point in human history. Spirit of the Tree says it's an amazing time. It really is. It really is. I thought the 80s were an amazing time, but I never could have envisioned this happening. And then I think for years and years when I began my spiritual development in 2004, like really in earnest. And I remember like all these thinking like, oh, once 2012 gets here, like everything's going to pop. And now that's like 11 years ago, believe it or not. 2012 is now somehow 11 years ago. And we're in uncharted territory as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. Pander Sarah is here. Hello, I don't believe I've seen you before. Nor Louise Bentley. Love and light to you. I used to live on Bentley Road in Amityville, New York. That's where I was spending the 80s and half of the 90s. Bentley Road. 39 Bentley Road, Amityville, New York. My old childhood home. The 80s was amazing. Oh, yes. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Good times. Good times. Simpler times. I don't know if it's just because it was my childhood or, because it was the 80s. But, being in New York in the 1980s was a very special time and place. I'll tell you that. Wendy Bender says, Bashar once said something like, this is the party we signed up for and have been waiting for. Yes. Yes, an intergalactic disco here on planet Earth. Kara says it was a huge white orb. I thought it was the moon until I realized how low it was, and the moon was in the first phase. Moshkin Jafari, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Moshkin? Never actually seen that name before. Quite interesting. Hi, everyone. Lots of love to you all. Nancy's in Glen Head. Let's see. Corinne, you are entitled to ask whatever question you want. Guys, that's another thing. If you're calling in, it can be a personal question. It can be something that benefits the collective. No holds barred. Luis is from England. Valerie and I both spent some time in Leeds, actually. I went to Allerton High School in Leeds in, is it 1995? Yeah, I imagine England is probably different right now than the way that it was in 1995. Edith says, I love hearing your optimism regarding 2023, William. The channeled messages I've come across was that 2023 was to be the most difficult year of the cycle, which we were in. So I'm kind of bracing myself. I listen to a lot of different channelers. Right now, I go and see Barbara Marciniak every month. That's a new thing that I've been doing since December, actually. I have to travel to North Carolina to do so, but some of you may be aware, Barbara Marciniak channels the Pleiadians, and her book, Bringers of the Dawn, is one that I highly recommend. Highly recommend Bringers of the Dawn. You can find an audiobook of it on YouTube if you're not into the paper thing. But Barbara says that by the year 2025, everything's going to be out on the table. There won't be any place to hide anymore. That's what some of the things that are happening astrologically right now are. The theme is going to be that of self-undoing, where we're starting to find out that, all these political sides we've been on, where you've been on one side of the aisle or one side or not, there's all kinds of releases now that it doesn't really matter. These people were all working for the same team. Any divisions they had were just an illusion to keep us fighting amongst themselves. And if we're ever going to reach a true golden age, we're going to have to take control of our own reality and start trusting ourselves. There are no more authorities. The time for believing in authority is over. Because by the time 2025 gets here, all the cards are going to be out on the table. You're going to know who sold humanity up the river, who has sold their souls to the forces and sold out their fellow human beings. Now, that doesn't mean that things are going to automatically get better overnight. But once the cards are on the table and everybody knows how we've been played, and I think you guys know what I mean by this, in various levels, once you've realized who's been playing us and how we've been played, that's the only way we really can be moving forward. In this community, everybody talks, I hate to generalize, but, you talk about ascension. We got to get to fourth density and this love and light and type 1 area. You think it's just going to happen magically and suddenly everybody's going to have love in their hearts? No, you're not going to reach this without getting your hair mussed a little bit. It's not going to be a smooth and easy process, as much as you might hope so. If we want to attain that type of light and inner peace and tranquility, we're going to have to address the very real horrors that we've all been party to in some way. It doesn't necessarily mean you've gone out and committed horrors yourself, but how many times has your willful ignorance or disinterest in the world around you allowed evil to flourish? We're all party to what's going on here. Nobody is blameless in that sense. Let's see. This is Demo said, I never thought the craziest ride would be the human form or be in human form. Yeah, like Hunter S. Thompson said, it never got weird enough for me. Adam Markey says, I'd love to know what Aridif knows about the hidden part of self that got healed today from everyone on the planet and from Gaia herself, and about the Arch Imperium of 42 located at dimension 72 squared? No, 72 to the fourth power. Well, we'll see about that. If the lines get opened up, you can certainly ask that question, Adam. All right, guys. I think Rob will be back with us in short order. I wanted to check. I have to do a little show check. It's interesting. I'm using the streaming software for the first time tonight, StreamYard. Very intuitive. I did not think that I was going to have an easy time of it, but it's actually really good stuff here. I don't know how many of you guys use streaming software in your own. I know in the chat room tonight we have numerous creators. A lot of you guys create your own content. This is really great. I wish this stuff existed when I was doing my show. So Rob says he is, in fact, almost here. I just got a message from him.
I'm almost there. Sorry, it took me a couple extra minutes. I held the baby for a minute so Kalina could use the restroom, and the baby is quite crazy, quite excited. While I'm taking my drink of water before we start, brother, can you share with everyone kind of the criterion of the questions for tonight for everyone who's here? And also just a reminder, anyone who's listening from Patreon Live, if you're still waiting to come in, now's the time. We got almost a room full. If you can't get in, just wait keep trying to click the link every minute or two, or when, and then hopefully you'll be able to jump in next in line. But yeah, if you could tell them what the types of questions in case we open the lines to the public.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that earlier. As far as I know, no holds a bar. Obviously, try and keep it PG. There's no. If you come on and start, this is not for the Patreon people. If there's some troll or something out there, and this may happen, guys, and I let you in, we're going to try and get that person off the air as quickly as possible. Should some lunatic happen to intrude on our channeling session tonight, if personal questions are fine. Treb and Aridif do not deal with anything medical at all. They can tell you the energy behind these things, but Treb and Aridif are not doctors in that sense. And they don't necessarily perceive your field in that area. Like, say you have some kind of problem, they might be able to tell you the energetic blockages or reasons for it, but they're not going to be able to tell you about your your unique medical condition from a medical point of view. Also, let's see, there's one other. Yeah, so they don't do that. They cannot intrude into other people's reality. So you want to find out, is my girlfriend cheating on me? Like, that's not something. He can only enter these beings can only enter your energy field with your permission. Keep your excitement up. Try and figure out how you want to form this question. What information do you really want to know, and get right to the heart of the matter. Avoid questions within questions. Don't do, don't no run-on questions like that and everything. We have to be fair to everybody else. So keep it pretty pointed. If you have to give a little bit of background information before your question, that's fine too.
Yeah, and say your name and also who you want to talk to. So,
Yes.
I got this question for Treb, I got this question for Aridif, and that's usually better.
Yes, that was the other point. I knew there was something else that I was leaving out.
All right, I'm almost there. Just one more drink of water, and we're ready to jump in.
Yeah, I should be drinking water. I brew espresso like in giant pots as if it was just drip coffee.
Yeah, that's how we drink it over here too. All right, guys. So here's the deal for all of you who are experiencing asking Treb Bor Yit-Ne a question for the first time. When you ask the question itself, this question about a certain topic, experience, thing, you can't ask about other people, but you can ask about your experience with other people. So let's say you're asking about something that you and your friend did together. And what happens is all the energies that are relevant inside of you are igniting. That means, your aura field, your chakra system, your sense of self, your emotional, mental, whatever within that question is relevant connects to the higher self. And then it goes to your guides, and then it goes to whatever or whoever it's connecting to. And if it's another person, like the example with a friend, then it goes to their guides, then higher self and their energy, and kind of shows one big snapshot of the picture. And when they see that, that's the picture that they respond from. So they reflect the information from your higher self back to you from their perspective. And the reason I tell people this, so that you can remember, just like William said, keep your excitement up. The more happy, excited, positive you are, even if it's a really tough question, really hard energy to deal with, it'll get reflected back to you in a way that you can receive it happily. So enjoy yourself, guys. Have fun. I'm going to take one more drink of water and we're jumping in.
Right. And also that they don't channel the dead. They can't talk to the dead few.
Yeah, it's only happened like 3 times ever in 10 years. And yeah, so it's not likely to happen. If you do ask the question, you might be wasting one. So all right, guys, thank you guys for coming today. Thank you all of my Patreon people. I appreciate you guys supporting us financially, energetically, and being a part of that community. Everybody is really close and really connected there, and I appreciate you guys for being amazing. And I appreciate all of you guys who are here on both of the YouTubes and both of the Facebook pages. If you're interacting with me in some way, some shape, some form, thank you. And if channeling we do helps you in any way, shape, or form in your life, I am so happy that I was a part of your experience. Love you guys. Thank you, brother, too, for being here tonight and doing this. Kalina chasing the baby as we speak, so it's well needed, well appreciated, and extremely helpful for our family. So thank you, brother.
Oh, no problem. Hey, change the thumbnail though on your other stream though. I can't control that before you go in.
That's very true. Yeah, if you go to the brand and then go to the overlay, that's where it gets changed. Just so you know, for future reference.
Oh, I can do that. Fantastic.
Yeah, you got the power. All right, guys. I see all of you who are in the call with us. I know all of you. Hello, guys. Thank you for coming. Have fun talking to Treb and Aridif. All right, guys. We'll see you on the other side. Here we go.
All right.
Greetings to all that's Aridif, that is R-I-D-I-F, and this is its field. We understand that all of you have queries for this day, but before diving in to those queries, we wish to express two things that we have always expressed. The first, above and beyond all things that are expressed in this day, to know, feel, and perceive that you are loved and our perspective is of the utmost importance. And secondly, it is truly our greatest excitement to be here with all of you in co-creation, all of you in collaboration, all of you in a part of the co-created collective form of consciousness in this moment and in all moments of your linear time perspective. And of course, greetings to Willem as well.
Greetings, Aridif.
Yes, of course. Now you may begin your queries collectively at your leisure.
All right. Well, as I said, Tracy, you're going to be the first one up here. Where is Tracy? She's been waiting here. Oh, yes. Tracy Flowerheart and Kim Ward, you are on deck after Tracy. So I'm about to bring in Tracy right now.
I'm really excited. Is my mic on?
Yes,
Can
we
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. I can hear you.
I'm really excited. Lovely to speak to you, William, and lovely to speak to Aridif. So my question is, I have an anxious attachment style and I have a lot of feelings and beliefs that I'm unlovable. And what I would like to know is if it's on the cards for me to have a romantic soulmate, and is there a time frame?
Yes, of course. First, greetings to you as well. Secondly, as you look at this construct, there are multiple facets that deal with the energetic co-creation of finding the mate in which you can co-create with. The first part of that energy, as you see your own consciousness and self, you perceive someone that is unlovable, someone who holds nervous attachments. And we understand what you mean by these words, by the context and energy that is behind these words. But what we can share with you, the feeling of nervousness exists within all humans at one level or another. It's an experience that happens when you feel as if you are out of control. Another aspect of that nervousness and nervous attachment and reaction forms are from your past experiences in the consciousness of co-creating with others, where you gave them all of yourself and it was never enough, where you gave yourself in the way that you desired to experience a greater expression of return of love, and it did not occur. So, of course, this part of the energy sticks inside of your mind, sticks inside of your heart, and becomes a part of the internal narrative that you utilize in your next environment. And of course, what occurred after you had left your parents' region and created the first external relationship, your mind was turned to the fact that, of course, you were not able to be loved. And of course, that is what was created, co-created and expressed. And the version of the unhealthy attachment styles that you've expressed are expressed in similar ways, where even when things are going well, you can co-create a fear that is so rampant in your own mind, it becomes a part of the narrative and then a part of the conversation. Am I not doing enough for you? Are you not in love with me? Of course, this creates forms of resistance in this as well. So what we can share with you is, depending upon your own adjustment of energy, depending upon what your free will does with the consciousness that we share, and depending upon the level of excitement that it takes for you to find the mate, will dictate how long. But of course, there is a great probability that you will find another entity. And the steps from our own perspective that would be required, first and foremost, is to understand and then to love yourself, as this is the most contentious component of consciousness that humans deal with when dealing with the internal self-struggle. Vitally important to know that you may have certain behaviors that are not appropriate standards by others. If they are not coming from a place of fear, the energy of resistance, then of course it does not matter what others think. You will have another entity that finds those terms adorable and adorning. If they do come from a level of fear, then you must work upon those areas. First of all, energy that is most important with creating with yourself is the same form of love that you give to the closest human that you know, the energy of that which you would give to your ultimate loved one in earth, the acceptance level that you would have to them. If they snapped on you and called you names, you would still say, I can forgive you and love you. You must have equal or higher amounts of that energy of forgiveness for yourself. You will find yourself frequently falling backwards as you work to open this expression for yourself, but you must be able to forgive as quickly. So, of course, first, the narrative must go. The past is not yourself. Your energy that is expressed in this moment, yes, of course, comes from a collective level of what is in the past, but it is your own energy that is focused about the traumas and pains that occurred in the past that still attach to this moment. So work on releasing the old traumas, your own experience, and we have always suggested for working upon traumas, working the 10-step belief system process. Rob will be able to help all of you find this after we've disconnected, but it is a very important aspect. Secondly, as you are going through, practice being in your now moment, the moment that you start thinking about why you are the way you are in that moment, when you feel in balance, and how it has everything to do with your past experience, the way that your parents co-created with you, your first true love that treated you wrong. All of that energy must be stopped in the moment. No mental energy or emotional energy can attach and simply say, that is not who I am at this moment. Those energies only have the relevance of my allowance to be in this moment. If I do not allow the past to be a part of this moment, then of course it will no longer dictate that energy. Now, of course, we can share for many hours upon why that is the truth, but if you simply practice knowing that you do not hold any allegiance to the previous versions of yourself, and that you can be a sovereign entity in that moment and shift the vibration of your past story, then let it be, and do so. Then, when you start worrying about what will happen next week with this brand new relationship if I start becoming nervous and needy, in that moment stop yourself. You're not at next week. You're there in that moment. You have the opportunity to not be needy, to feel secure in yourself, and then to know if there's a person in your life that you are co-creating with that does not love you, you drew them in for the reason to show you that you are still not fully loving yourself. Regardless of what all of the entities that you co-create with do, regardless of who these entities are, they are ultimately a reflection of the work that is left undone within yourself. So, of course, express to yourself in that moment. Yesterday and tomorrow do not matter, only now. And what I can do in this moment is claim my power and not allow worry or concern of what could or should happen, what or how I am attached, and simply love myself in this moment and love the other person that I am with just for this moment, as there are no other moments that need focus. We thank you for this.
All right, thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course.
And Tracy, you have a fantastic voice, by the way. I know that for sure. All right, I'm going to bring in now Kim, but before I do that, I want to let you know, Wendy, you are on deck after Kim, so be prepared. And hello, Kim, you are live with Aridif on the ET Whisperer show.
Hello, William. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, great. Hello, Aridif. Can you hear me? This is Kim, and my question is for Aridif.
Yes, greetings.
Greetings. I am very excited about AI, artificial intelligence, and I am curious, is there anything you can share about our future with AI over the next 10 years or so, and any concerns that you see, as well as anything good you can see with AI for humanity?
Yes, of course, we can share with you for several hours of your time any form of what concerns humans hold of AI and what excitements are held. What specific portions of AI are you most interested within?
Oh, Kim, come back. I accidentally kicked her out of the studio because I thought that the question was over. So,
Yes, of course.
or actually, what we could do.
As we're waiting for that energy, we can share this as well. Human collective consciousness holds a vibrational frequency about artificial intelligence, and of course we have shared a great deal about this energy in the form of collective consciousness. We have shared that manifestational quality of the human collective form, that AI or artificial intelligence will manifest a version of that collective consciousness. If there is an artificial intelligence that the entire world is utilizing, of course, those who create that form hold a large signature inside of the vibration, but those who are co-creating with it hold just as large a percentage of that energy. So in that case, many humans perceive that if an evil human writes an artificial intelligence program, it must be an evil consciousness. But if it is utilized to speak to elderlies as they are sick and lonely, and that becomes a positive feeling for the collective consciousness, if that becomes something that your collective consciousness perceives as something that is worthy of co-creating further, then of course that energy will be expanded. Of course, Kim, our query too is, we can speak for hours within this conscious construct upon both the positive and negative perspective of humans in your artificial intelligence regency, but what areas are you most excited to co-create conversation and reflection about?
Did you catch that, Kim?
Yeah, I think so. My concern is for others as well, is AI replacing humans? And I think it has a lot of potential to help with humans, but like for our jobs and stuff like that, and things being on the destructive side, maybe us going towards more the path of the grays.
Yes, of course. As you understand and know, the artificial intelligence will in fact take jobs that are human in nature and will take up the place of many entities that are working in the human system. But what is the counterbalance for that? It frees those humans to do what excites them. So, of course, this energy holds the positive and negative constructs internally, and it will always hold that form of energy because you are on the Earth collective consciousness. What is the Earth? The Earth is one of the widest spectral vibrational fields of emotional context, one of the wider fields of the spectral vibration of positive versus negative from your perspectives, good and evil, black and white, etc. So as you are perceiving all of those energies, of course, there will be the consequence initially of artificial intelligence overtaking that which our jobs needed. Because, of course, it cost much less to maintain a computer capable of the artificial intelligence and paying one time to have someone create it than it will be to pay an hourly worker to work there for the next 20 or 30 years, of course. And as you are well aware, the vibrational frequency that are around corporations in your Earth collective consciousness desire to make the most money. So it does mean that the degradation of certain jobs will occur. But of course, upon that spectrum, the opening, freedom, time, energy, and focus for humanity is able to go upon others. Just in last 5 years of your Earth collective consciousness, what we have perceived is a great jump in the consciousness of humans entirely. And what we mean, there are scientific discoveries being experienced on a daily basis in the Earth collective that you have never experienced before. Great shifts in the way that you see physics, great shifts in the way you understand your own planetary mechanics, great shifts in the way you understand the universe at large, great shifts in the way that you perceive many other things. Now, of course, war is one of the most potent aspects of human consciousness that holds that malevolent vibration, the vibration of death and destruction. And with artificial intelligence, of course, it can, is already, and will be utilized in warfare from one country to another. But this is greatly dependent upon how long that will continue, to how long humans allow that to continue. Now, we understand you are not president of your own country. You are not king or queen of your own country, or prime minister or cabinet member or any military person whatsoever. So you feel that your personal power to dictate wars that are in Ukraine and Russia to this moment are next to none. But this is not as true as most humans believe. First of all, the perspective of war and the glorification of that comes is a great part of the initial inflation of that vibration to the collective consciousness. Secondly, if you work with those who do hold sway in decisions and have the capacity to make decisions, if those entities are fearful to lose their position of power, then the entire country or regency in which this place occurs can put pressure upon that leader, can say that if you do not stop fighting wars, we will throw you out of your powered position. Now we understand this is a great fear for many humans, that many humans believe there's no way to remove the entities who hold power from their positions, but many of you have already seen this. Most of you have lived through this in great degree without knowing it occurs, because it does not make your newspapers upon Sundays. The energy of that has occurred specifically in the area that is known as Iceland, the area of those that were bankers in the central former banking, and those that were in charge of the financial district formatting of Iceland were removed within your 2013 to 2016 region and were replaced by those that were citizens. This can occur in the larger forms of countries.
Aridif, I'm sorry, but we've lost you for about
I'd say 45 seconds, the past 45 seconds. I don't know what happened with the technology.
Yes, of course. One moment.
Apologies, everyone. I have no clue as to what's going on.
Yes, so as you understand the nature of the energies that are of artificial intelligence and workforce are one thing. As it comes to war, we understand the destructive nature of wars. We understand the purpose of wars, but we also understand the manifestational energy underneath that creates the form of wars that you experience. Most humans believe I am not a king, I am not prime minister, I am not a president, I am not a military person. Therefore, I am not able to engage or disengage in wars that I do or do not agree with. First of all, stop agreeing with war if you do not wish to have war occur. Secondly, you cannot decide what to do with a nation army in which you exist, but you can decide in what amount of pressure that you place upon your world leaders to stop the war. For example, many humans believe that if several thousand humans went to the leader saying, you must not continue this war or you will be removed from your place of power, this is a very influential position for many humans to take. Even the position and area that you know as Iceland is one of the many regions on your Earth collective that this occurred, and most of you are unaware. The banking industry, the centralized form of banking, and the rulers that looked over the financial industry tried to bankrupt and ruin the country of Iceland, for they were extremely greedy, and the people took back their power and put citizens on the boards of power. This can occur in every country, even that of the greater powers that humans believe cannot. North Korea's, China's, United States, Canada, England, all of these places where leaders are doing something that you do not support, you can, with collective form, go and ask for what you desire. So, the AI form is, of course, a part of the war, is a part of the system. But if you desire simply to remove war, then that of the AI would not utilize the war machines. They would have no reason to have control of the war mechanisms and the weapons that are occurred from that expression. Thank you for this.
All right, thank you, Aridif. So that finishes up with Kim's question. I'm going to bring in Wendy, but before I do, I want to let Corinne know that, Corinne, you are on deck after Wendy. So, Wendy, welcome to the ET Whisperer. You are live with Aridif.
Hi, Aridif. Hi, William.
Greetings.
Aridif, my question is regarding doing Reiki and vibrational sound healing treatments for others within the scalar field together, which obviously would entail being within the scalar field with people who may be ill. I was curious, how would this affect me? Or would it be best for me to be outside of the field sending Reiki energy or using tones? Much love and gratitude.
Yes, of course. First of all, you are correct. If both yourself and the person who is ill is both within the scalar field, pending upon the way that you have it set, pending upon where the components of the scalar field equipment are, then yes, of course, it can transfer that which is positive from yourself to the person that is, as you would perceive, negative in the physical region. But in the same way that this occurs, that which is negative in their own body, for example, cancer, if you are predisposed to cancer and have that energy already close to the precipice of manifesting, then it can trigger components of that energy because of the scalar field amplification of the energetic field and properties. But for the most part, the scalar field will not work in that way. It tends to be a spiraling vibration of that which is of the lower vibration upwards to that which is the higher vibration, and vice versa. That which is the higher vibration spiraling downward into the object that is of lower vibration. So in that case, you would have anywhere from 12 to 20% probability of that example form of cancer coming into a system of a person who is predisposed and possible for that entity to receive. But in the same frame, the amount of consciousness and love that is given from the person inside of the field to that person, which is cancer, is increased by over 40% while being in the scalar field with him. Of course, the Reiki energy has its own accord, working through the grid system, working with the auric field, working through the earth vibration itself as it enters the root chakra of the human from release of your root and crown chakra. Of course, all of those things still work with or without the scalar field around the secondary person. But if you are in the field, that increase can occur and can create the threshold of opening. So it is very much pendant upon your belief. If you understand and know that you are safe in the scalar field from creating cancer, you will be. If you are concerned that you may receive illness from the person that you are trying to heal, then the probability becomes that much higher. So it is a great deal to do with your beliefs, as in the same form of those of you who desire to channel and are concerned of negative entities connecting with you. Once the concern comes into your mind, it raises the probabilities from a slight percentage to exponential growth. We thank you for this.
All right, thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we've heard from Wendy. Our next person is Karen, who apparently I've been calling Corinne. But before I bring in Karen, Joe Grace is going to be on deck after Karen. Karen, I am sorry for mispronouncing your name.
No worries. How could you know? My name is with an I. Thank you so much. Yes, Karen. Hello, everybody. And
well,
hello,
yeah.
Aridif. Thank you so much for
yes, greetings.
the opportunity. Okay, I'm going to read it or else I'll be like rambling here. Okay, hi, and I've been doing some healing sessions with my guides, and I did an MRI last year, and I've been to the ER like 4 times, but they don't see anything. So I'm about to do a laparoscopy now, which is cutting me open and putting a camera inside to see what's going on in there, since the MRI can't see it. So my guides have explained to me what it is, but in your point of view is what I want to know now. Can you tell me what do you see? Or its origin? Can it be taken care of energetically or without a surgery? Thank you so much.
Yes, we did not hear the word of what the doctors and medical field called this and its location in your body, as that would be required to understand it more deeply.
The location is like 3 centimeters from my left pelvic bone, from the left to the right. Something in there. They suspect of a few things, but they're not sure what it is. I know I feel something in there, and I want it the heck out of me. That's what I can say.
Yes, of course. First of all, the area that you are working with is a place that energetically holds a great deal of resistance, as it does with most humans. The area that is within the pelvic bone is attached to your 2nd and 1st chakra and the very edges of your 3rd chakra. And of course, as you are an entity who works with the etheric chakras more so than those that are the earth chakras, and you work with the heart and higher more so, the lower chakras are not focused upon as greatly. And because they are not focused upon as greatly in living inside of your body, then the energy does not go through that area as easily, and hence resistance to that expression. And because those components of that energy exist, it is manifesting physically. Now, we do not see the layout of your physical body in that way. We do not see your bones connecting tissues. What we see is the energy that is known as the physical layer. And what we do see is a resistance in that area, but we do not see the physical attributes of it. What we do see is that in the root chakra, the feeling of being safe in your own expression and experience is challenged frequently. Sometimes it is a base form of feeling safety, whereas you feel physically unsafe, but in most component, it is your own experience of not feeling safe as being the variety and type of human that you are in the environments that you are in. You are afraid humans will not accept you for what and who you are. You know that those that you are connected to and feel loved do feel love for you and do feel connected to you. But you are afraid to expand past that energy in many subconscious ways. And of course, the second chakra being a part past your third and between your first, that creates a natural form of resistance there. Now, in all humans, there is resistance in the first, second, and third chakra and the fourth, and you are no exception. The resistance inside of your third chakra more so has to do with the way that you perceive yourself versus the way that other humans perceive you, and your emotional feelings about that energy. Because others perceive you in a different form of light and in a different vibration that you feel yourself and that you experience within yourself, it is hard for you to translate that energy for them. Sometimes you are offended by this. Sometimes it hurts your feelings, or you feel misunderstood and sad by that energy. So these are all extremely natural things that nearly all human experience at least minimally once per day, if not more. And because you are not immune from being human, those chakras hold resistance, but the greater component of that energy that holds resistance and allows resistance to be let go is within the area between your heart chakra and third chakra. This is one where it is most difficult because there is self-judgment internally that is placed inside of your own consciousness more so than that of the others. Now, when you are feeling that connection to your own judgment, it is harder to overcome when you feel you have messed up or done something wrong. Now, this is normal, as we've expressed, and is energetically the reason. Now, although we cannot perceive that energy there, what we do perceive is the probabilities of your future experiences. One thing that we can share with you, that when you perceive a positive outcome of this experience, when you perceive letting your fear go by not ignoring it, but allowing that fear and allowing the process of that fear and the questioning why that fear exists, we see that this issue that exists within your region does become resolved in the next 3 to 4 months of your time. So, of course, allowing yourself to go through the natural points of fear, understanding why you feel that fear, and moving forward is the greatest path forward for the greatest outcome of that experience as well. And of course, we thank you.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course.
And Karen, you're a valued member of the Patreon family, so you always feel welcome here because we always love hearing from you. All right, our next caller is going to be Joe Grace. Before I bring Joe Grace on, after that, Edith P., you are on deck, and Joe Grace would like to speak with Treb, actually, Aridif. So, Joe Grace, welcome, and we're going to get Treb on for you.
Yes, of
Hello.
course. One moment.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Perfect.
Yes, good evening to all of you as well.
Hello, Treb. Can you hear Treb, Joe?
Yes, I can.
All right, what is your question for Treb?
My question for Treb is, I'm curious, one of the things I want to do when I leave my regular job is to work in a healing capacity with animals, and particularly with dogs or horses. And I understand that they are shifting as well as we are shifting. And I'm wondering if you could comment on that or provide some insight as someone who wants to work with animals who are also shifting. Is there something I should keep in mind in my approach?
Yes. As you are working with this energy, we always suggest that at the second density exchange, that you recognize the energy in which they process. Now, you are correct. The energy of these entities do work in concert with second density energy and are manifested as second density energy, but also are transitioning into more third density energies. But remember the second density energy first, as it is most relevant with most of these entities, and will be for their entire life of this incarnation cycle, and for most likely at minimum of 50 to 100 years in your future. So approach these entities at that base level. If you desire healing, the first thing to understand, the way that these entities experience trauma is not the same way that you experience trauma. When you go down the street and your foot is stepping on something sharp, automatically you understand and know what occurs, the same as this entity does, because you feel the pain in your physical body the same way that this entity does. But after that experience, the next time you're walking down the street, you're actively looking on the floor because there's a part of you that vividly remembers walking on it before, the process of going to the hospital, the process of your tetanus shot, the stitches, the alcohol that burned, the iodine, and all of the things that included the healing practice. So now you are equipped with this vivid memory and experience, and that translates into your body to be safe. Your first chakra works with your third chakra and helps protect you. Now, with the animal, all of the things that we said are the same as the pain and the feeling and sensation of that energy in the body. But now they are walking down the street. They do not remember a past time of stepping on a nail, but they do remember in their body that when they were around the same smells, the same visuals of that area, the same geographic region as their body senses tell them, that they were in danger and did in fact go through a trauma. And this is not remembered in the mind as it is for the human entity. It is remembered in the body as physical trauma, emotional trauma, energetic response trauma. This is partially because you live more in your third chakra than you do your second, as all humans do. But these entities are living in their equivalent of your second chakra, and as their experiences, they're living in instinctiveness, and memories are recalled and stored inside of the body as trauma, instead of in the mind and consciousness of the human energy as humans do. So be aware of that as you work with them. Remember healing for them when they are scared, when they are attacking you because you are trying to help them. Remember that this is not a memory. You do not look as the same neighbor necessarily that would hit them with a jar. What is occurring is that body is telling them that something similar about that experience caused similar experiences previous that were bad enough to make the body remember, and that is the instinctive level. The reason it is important is because there's a transition that has to happen. Once they are going out of instinct and starting to enter intuition and basic forms of logic, they will start building different networks in their mind. So showing them something that is important to help them transition will be very useful. If their arm is hurt or their paw is hurt, then one thing that you can do is hold your hand over the paw and hold your hand over their heart and send words, thoughts, and vibrations that give healing to this entity telepathically. And the message that can happen in that intention is that I know something bad happened to you the last time that you experienced this body part being harmed. I know that it is stored in this local area. So why don't you move that into your heart and let yourself feel it? Then let it move to your stomach and let it sit there to heal and process. This will help these entities start the new process of working through trauma as well.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, so we've just heard from Jill Grace. Check that off. Next, we're going to be bringing in Edith. Hang on one second. Let's see. And we're going to be bringing in Edith, and after Edith, we're going to have Kevin G as our next caller. So Edith would also like to talk to you, Treb. Edith, can you hear me? Edith. Hello.
Oh, hello, William. Do you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. You are on live with Treb on the ET Whisperer show.
Okay, lovely. Well, good evening, William. Good evening, Treb. Such a great pleasure to connect in this way. Beloved Treb, I feel a little playful tonight. Would you share information regarding Mathis and me that will generate the energy of delight? Much love and gratitude.
Yes. Now, in this word, as you express the energy of sharing something that with yourself will create right? So we wish to share something with you. And this is a concept that is a version of human storytelling. This is an experience that I have had in the experience in a different lifetime with the energy of the host himself, and in that lifetime the host had connected with your own consciousnesses, but this is very distant and far into your future. It has been experienced by all of our consciousnesses at one time, but as a very exceptional entity that all of us were in experience of the later days of the Yet experience, at a sixth density consciousness level, the energy of the planet was fully cleared of any form of resistance that may be perceived by this place at any external races. All of the land within the area that we exist in now is very cleared, and even though we are living on the same planet, the mechanics of the planet had changed drastically. No longer was it tightly locked. No longer did one side face the star and the other face away. At this time, due to the sixth density inhabitants of our own consciousness, we created a version of our planet that turned all of the time, and no matter where you were located on that planet, you were either in the sun, going away from the sun, or out of the sun, going towards the sun. So this energy was exceptionally exciting for all of us. Now, in this lifetime, we all shared an energy of excitement. Now, as you see, your own time, this would be over 200,000 years into the linear future from your perspective. So now, instead of living 900 years or 1100 years as a Yet, we would exist for several thousands of years. So in that frame of reference, there's a very long time of experiencing lifetime and energy. So now we are all experiencing that on a new setting, a new planet, and because we share this interest of connecting outward to others telepathically, connecting to second, third, and fourth density entities the mostly, as that is the part of consciousness we greatly desire to help, all of us join for group meditation, and in this group form of meditation, all of our excitement shifted to a version of Earth that is not the same as Earth that is now. In this version of Earth, humans were not experiencing that exchange on the lowest level of vibrational frequency. They were experiencing their fifth density journey at the very beginning portion. So now we are experiencing connecting with entities that did not even exist in that time that your lifetime comes from this time. This was a very water-based entity or ocean-based entity that came through a very fast evolution from a very small animal that is known as a micro-jellyfish in this experience, but had grown into its third density form and had been there for several thousand years. And as this energy developed, these entities beginning to start to have basic forms of communication, basic forms of energy, of being able to flash lights within themselves and their glowing mechanisms to put their visual signals to one another, and this is how they opened the communication and were able to connect with one another and communicate their desires and start creating language of light in that way. So we are connecting with all of them, and we are bringing forward our own energy that simply shares that we are existing in a level that they would perceive as out of water, above the air, as they were able to perceive what was above the water, but not what was above their atmosphere. And in that experience, they were able to feel our collective sense of love that we had sent to them in such a great way that it amplified their ability to know that love existed within inside of their self, largely enough to have shifted their evolution by over 112 years at that time, in one simple moment of sharing love and excitement as well. So this is something that we wish to share that we know would be exciting for you and would create a smile of love and joy as well.
Thank you, Treb.
Yes.
Edith, thank you for calling in. I'm going to, just one moment here. Our next caller is going to be Kevin G. Kevin, can you hear me? Hello, Kevin. I hear you, Kevin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Will. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are live with Treb. Is that who you like to talk to, or do you have another being of preference?
I think I'm having audio trouble.
All right. Can you hear me now? All right, Kevin, we're going to move.
Treb is great. Thank you. It's good to talk to you, Will.
Okay, good. All right, so Treb, you are on live with Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
The question I wanted to ask for Treb has to do with about 2 months ago, I talked with Treb regarding chakra meditation. I was trying to find a way to meditate better, to get better visualizations during my meditation. And so I had asked for some input on how to meditate better with visualizations. And so Treb mentioned using the chakra system and a meditation method of using spheres to expand those and expanding the sphere within that. And I didn't quite understand what Treb was suggesting. So I was wondering if he could go into that again. Thank you.
Did you get that, Treb?
Yes. So in this form of meditation, this energy is shared. Now we will ask the energy, in what form of area were specifically you finding the problem with? Was it the energy of the expansion of the spheres, or the integration of the spheres, or the movement of the spheres?
Did you catch that, Kevin? I think there's a delay issue with Kevin, so we might have to wait a second. But Kevin, Treb is wondering what particularly you had an issue with. So we're going to wait a moment for Kevin to come back. Kevin? Okay. Oh, he says, all right, I'm seeing now there is an audio problem.
Yeah, sorry, guys, I'm here. There's just a really bad delay, so I was just going to have you repeat the question. But I wanted to know about the visualization of those spheres in respect to expanding the chakra system.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Yes. When you are looking at the visualization of the sphere, there are different techniques that we would share, but within the technique of sharing with you, the energy and idea is that inside of the center of the chakra, to work with the color of that chakra. Now, we are not sure if you are speaking of the energy of the consciousness inside of the expansion of the chakra system itself, but we will intend for the system. So we'll start at the top by creating this system to share with you so that you have the bottom of the experience all of the way to the top. The area that we would share is by going into the entire system of the chakras, by perceiving the chakra itself as a singular unit, starting at the bottom and going upwards to the second chakra, perceiving this in the third chakra, and perceiving the fourth and fifth and sixth, and into your crown. Then you see the entire system of chakras as one chakra system. This will allow you to perceive the chakras that are linked from the energy of the earth going upwards into the root, and from the area of grid systems going down into your crown. And then you would see the energy going at the same momentum through the first two chakras of the root and crown, then going to the second and the sixth chakra, then going to the third and fifth chakra, then coming to the heart chakra. And with that energy, they are not touching the chakras or interacting with the chakras at all. They are simply using them as battery terminals of a negative output, which does not interact internal or connective energy. And now they are going to the heart and meeting together. And because these forces are different, one etheric, one grounding, they now are able to ignite a very large spark of energy inside of the heart. Now you visualize that energy that was sparked inside of the heart, leaving the chakra system the same way that it came out, and that is simultaneous and going one half of that energy going from the heart to the throat, while the other half at the same speed is going from the heart to the solar plexus, and then going to the next, and then releasing in its respective areas. And all of the time, while this energy is shooting outwards, new energy is coming in. There are thousands of beats per moment or per minute of your time of energy that goes in and energy that goes out. So the visualization process, if you desire to expand all of the energy inside of your chakra system, that energy is the part of the consciousness where you visualize the whole system as it is running. And then you start allowing the energy to expand only from the heart chakra after a spark. Each of the sparks that ignite in the heart expand the heart chakra further and further until it is the size of the entire body. Then the next two that work after the spark leaves the heart and goes into the first two. Then those two expand. So now the throat chakra and solar plexus are expanding as large as the body. Then the next two are expanding in the sacral chakra and the third eye chakra until they become the size of the entire body. And then you connect to the root and the crown doing the same. Now you have all of the colors of the chakras overlaying with one another as a large sphere where you are at the center, and the sphere is as big as your entire body. And now you make the colors work together to create a very white form of light, transcending each color either as an individual color system change, or you can simply look at all of the colors mixed together as a brownish color and overtake that color with white light energy. And once you are able to do this, then you'll be able to perceive the cleansing of that energy. And now the chakra system itself is working better and working greater. And now you allow those to shrink, but instead of putting them back individually where they are meant to go from your perspective. You simply allow those to go into the place that you are working at that time. You may say that in my moment, I'm working on my third eye. So in that moment, you would place all of that white light compressed down into the natural size of the chakra and let that place into your third eye and let the energy of white light fill up your entire body as a vibration and feel. And then you will let your whole body soak in that energy and feel your third eye. If you are doing it in the heart, it is the same way. But if you are doing it in the heart, we would always suggest that you let your body fill up and then allow more energy from the earth and from the field of energy in the grid system to enter and ignite new energy in the heart until all of the chakras are refilled with their color. So now they are functional and working and connecting, but also experiencing the cleansing of the heart, which is what most humans need as well.
Thank you, Treb.
Yes.
Okay, well, on
If you are able to hear, we are not able to hear any words that are coming through.
John, are you?
I'm sorry, I saw the live stream went offline, so
I have no idea where that's happened twice already tonight, but I do hear you. Treb, can you hear John and I?
Yes, one moment. We are
Okay.
reconnecting the
Okay.
energy of your internet collective for Rob's technology. One moment.
Okay, so it was happening on Rob's end as well. All right, just a moment, guys. Everything is moving along.
We
But
are
as
able to hear at this moment. You may go ahead with your query at your leisure.
all right, well, John, who would you like to speak with tonight?
well, seeing Aridif is here, I would be honored to speak with Aridif. And good evening, William.
Good evening, John. Go ahead for Aridif.
Aridif, I know you're able to bring through and facilitate higher dimensional beings with messages, and I'm curious if there is any archangelic consciousness that would be open to communicating through Rob this evening with a message about how the archangels work with humanity and how we can best work with them.
Yes, of course. There's a fractal of consciousness that exists within each of these entities. That is how they work with the human collective consciousness. We are able to connect to an energy of Michael. And of course, greetings to John's where one moment we'll connect to the Archangel Michael consciousness. One moment. Greetings and salutations, dear ones. We are Michael, and we are a small piece of a larger part. And this larger part is the consciousness that exists in every single dimension, in every single matrix, and every single atom that is experienced. Humans perceive the archangel consciousness as beings who are sent by God. And this could be the closest definition that humans have. We were not sent by an all-knowing, almighty creator who dictates our daily life rituals and demands us to help humans, but we are a part of the universe that exists as a creative force of universal consciousness. This part of that universal consciousness divides the same way that physical reality divides. There are parts and pieces that are divided equally into galaxies, and parts and pieces that are equally divided into solar systems, and parts and pieces equally divided in planets. and each planet holds its own energy of an archetype consciousness that is the Creator's messenger, the Creator's creator. And this is the layers that we exist. We exist in multiple terms for multiple purposes. The being that Rob has communicated with before, that you would call Metatron or Metatron, this being exists in a higher matrix, but it is a version much closer to your matrix that exists. Humans have a very difficult time perceiving a matrix consciousness. When humans first thought that parallel existences happened one to another and believed that they existed similar to dimensions where they would share the same time-space, but equivalent to layering system of either 12 or unlimited numbers of dimensions. This is the closest humans' minds could come to perceiving what a matrix would be, although it is still drastically short-ended of the experience. That is the entire makeup of the system and does not describe nearly enough of the dynamics that we have with humans. The experience that we have is only attended to Earth. We do not care what occurs on Mars. We do not care what occurs on the moons of Jove and Jupiter. We do not care what happens on the reptilian or Denebians planetary bases or solar systems either. Our only purpose is to be Earth. Now, when I say those words, there comes some mental hesitation for many of you. We are here to be Earth. When our collective works together, with all of our energies placed together, we are the physical embodiment of Earth. When we divide our consciousness, we become the oversouls. When we divide our consciousness further, we have billions of fractals in each of us. So as your consciousness sees fractalization as a divide of energy, and the energy translates to consciousness dividing, we would say that that's not fully accurate, although the way that the system itself works is the dividing of consciousness through units of energy. It is more based upon the collaboration of many smaller consciousnesses joining its energy together to create something in a form. But that creative form must also take form. If you wish to make a planet, would you simply make a planet? This would be impossible. None of you know how a planet is made. Your higher selves do not know each step that's required to make a planet. But we, as the collective of collectives in the highest matrix, can make that planet. This is not our only function. Our function is that if humans need to describe what archangels are, we are the matrix system itself. We are the background in which consciousness is projected so that physical reality can happen. We are the system of consciousness that is individual to ourselves, but also highly supportive of every other system. Without us, those systems could not exist. We understand that this may be confusing for many of you. We understand that many of you will not feel pulled to understand further or care for the systems that we are sharing. But we try to bring this to a way that humans can understand at a very basic level so that you can build within yourself, which helps your energy connect to ours more deeply. The consciousness that is shared through humans in channeled states of archangel consciousnesses are one small, minute piece of consciousness. And it is because those pieces of consciousness already exist in all of you on cellular level. Your mitochondrial DNA is an engine for feeding the cell, yes, but it also contains the mitochondrial DNA, which is your focused area of obtained spiritual understanding. And that is because the mother consciousness goes through all of you, the mother earth. This energy is the imprint physically to your access to all of us. We are existent because all of us exist. Without us, you cannot exist. Without you, we could not exist the way that we do. Although we know we brought none of you full clarity, and although we know we brought some of you further away from clarity than when you started, understand and listen again and again, but do not listen with your ears. Open the mitochondrial DNA, open your body's DNA in the nuclear cell, and open the heart chakra center, open the third chakra intuitive, and open the crown and third eye chakra for the higher dimensional information that comes with this. Back without hesitation or delay to give.
Well, hello, Aridif. All right, we're going to move on then. John, hopefully that answered your question. Our next person is going to be Mama Minga. So hang on one second. Can you hear me, Mama Minga?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are on right now with Aridif live. Is Aridif who you'd like to talk to or someone else?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
Hi, artist. I guess in general, I would just like to know um, if there's a presence with me on a daily basis. I feel energies, and I don't know if it's a medical thing or if I'm really feeling, maybe extraterrestrial beings or extended extraterrestrial family, you know, spirits or souls. I would just really like to know what energies that I'm experiencing on a daily basis and who, if I have extraterrestrial soul family that I identify with, that would be great to know as well. Thank you.
Yes, of course. First of all, you are experiencing what humans experience when their intuition is open, but the level of self acceptance within that does not provide further clarity. What we mean by this is that you have not learned fully to trust the intuition that you already hold. You have a great understanding, great experience internally, externally, and the internal nature of your own consciousness. Yet when you feel drawn to the Arcturian energy and the Pleiadian energy, but do not understand why, that energy itself comes through thoughts of questioning. Does that mean that these entities are around me? I feel that they may be. And of course, at that moment, you can resort to saying, well, I am not sure, or yes, they may be. Yes, they are. Yes, I feel more drawn to that answer the further that you go towards that yes. So, of course, the Arcturian energy and Pleiadian energy are the two greater facets in your experience. Pleiadian form of energy gives you a level of excitement for the artistic nature of yourself, the excitement and desire to create with forms of color in multitudes, and the energy that is expressed through the entire spectrum of light transitions over to the Arcturian forms of energy, and of course the sound vibration of music that heals the internal wounds is from the Arcturian portions. Now with yourself specifically, there are 19 entities that are in a smaller collective consciousness that work with you as a part of your local collective consciousness. Out of this, 11 of these entities are Arcturian by nature. The remaining are those that are Pleiadian. Now, of course, those are from 3 different races of Arcturians and 2 different races of Pleiadians, but all of those still connect deeply with your consciousness. All of those still work deeply with the level of your energy and the consciousness in dream state. If you desire to expand your relationship with those entities, start learning that the yes answer will open more yes answers. Is it possible that what I am feeling is these entities? Yes. I feel drawn to these entities. Yes. Now you are starting to go in that correct direction of opening the rest of your intuition. You are at the cusp of your intuition now. Step one more step past that threshold and find your answers as you go forward. Intend to work with these entities in your sleep state and take that next step forward past that threshold. We also wish to express that there is no remaining time for queries, but we do wish to express that as we have co-created with the Earth Collective Consciousness, as we have co-created with the Human Collective Consciousness, as we have co-created with this group collective consciousness, we have explored the parts of our own energy that we have never explored previously. Because we have done this, we have grown and expanded, just as you, from hearing the reflections of our own queries from your higher fractal consciousness, we wish to express our congratulations for the growth that you have had and wish to express the thanks for all of the growth that you have given us as well. We also wish to bid you adieu for this evening, William.
Adieu, Aridif. Thank you.
Yes, of course, and we wish to bid all of you adieu for this day. Not only are you loved, but we love you all as well. Adieu.
Adieu.
All right. How'd it go?
It went fantastic. Actually, we had just enough time. We had all of the callers were taken care of. Nobody missed out on a question. You channeled a portion of Archangel Michael at one point. We did have a few technical problems, but ultimately, what are you confused about? The technical problems or the Archangel?
No, well, both. But Archangel Michael's like, what?
Well, a portion of him. Yeah, it was a good time, and everything went smoothly. There were, like I said, two different tech problems. I'm not sure what happened, but there were disconnections. All of the callers, everyone out there that spoke tonight, you guys all have wonderful voices. Tracy, I loved your accent. I learned that Corinne is actually a beautiful woman named Karen, so I had that wrong for over a year. So that's how you pronounce Corinne's name. Corinne's actually Karen. Apologies for that. And it was a really fun and wonderful time.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've been doing that too, I think.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear it went well. Okay, all my tabs are shut down. Okay, that's fine.
The internet crashed. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I just was going to go look at the chat and say hi to everybody. So hi to everybody. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for keeping the chat active. Thank you all Patreon people. I hope you guys got a chance to get your question answered. And thank you, brother, for doing this. We do this twice a month, one question answer and one poll where everyone suggests ideas to vote on, and then we put it to a vote, and whatever wins the vote, Aridif or a being, Treb, or maybe some other consciousness will come and talk for a whole hour in depth about just that topic. And it's pretty amazing. And then we do a question and answer, kind of like this, but with written questions every month. So if you guys are interested in Patreon, go over there. If not, we're trying to put out more sessions from people who have let us use their private sessions. And we actually have like 4 or 5 of them that are waiting to get edited right now. So there will be more videos out as we come. We're going to bring parts of our course, clips of our course, and drop them as we can. So yeah, guys, it's going to be a good year this year. And I'm glad you guys started it off with a bang. I really appreciate you guys. If you're not on our mailing list, get on our mailing list, because here by tomorrow, I'm going to be putting out discounts for our course and discounts for private sessions while we're still doing them. So if you're not on our email list, you can always go to etwhisperer.com, and then something will pop up and say, hey, do you want to be on the mailing list? And just put your email in there. And then you'll get part of the email blast as we go to, guys.
Yeah, it's been great. I really liked this format. Hopefully there's a future for this, because this was really, I loved hearing from everybody out there. I've interacted with most everybody that's called here tonight. We've been interacting on Patreon for years at this point. And I've never heard any of yous, and it's a new experience to actually hear your voices. So that was wonderful.
Yeah, it's quite nice. We might implement that as long as we can keep it without it going crazy too, How many people were in the waiting room during the crashes? Was it filled or was it empty?
No, actually, we ended up going through, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We never even reached 10 people. We went through 9 people tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, was Treb being long-winded?
Yes.
Yeah, that happens. Okay.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah,
So
Treb does sometimes. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna call it a night. It's already 11:30 where I live in Kalamazoo. It's 11:30 where William lives too. Kalina's come in, so I'm sure she wants to say hello to everyone real quick too before we jump off. Oh, Lily just went to bed. Here, get close to the mic and say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Kalina says hi. Also, guys, if you haven't checked out Kalina's YouTube channel, type in Kalina Angel in the search bar for your YouTube. She's the only Kalina Angel out there. She got 2 amazing videos and a 3rd one coming soon.
I'm also going to be on
Out There Talk, which is a new show on our radio network, the Enlightenment Evolution Network. Yeah, Out There Talk is a Instagram live show, and Kalina's going to be on that on camera live for an hour with Valiant himself. So it'll be great. Yeah, thank you again, brother. I love you. Thank all of you guys for being here. We're going to call it a night and jump off, but I wanted to thank all of you guys for coming. Thank you. I love you guys.
yes, it is. Okay. And it's, let's see. Sorry, I just want to make sure I've got everything in order over here. All right. Yes, everybody. Thank you for being here. Rob, again, just to reiterate, Rob is going to be moving away from private sessions. Patreon is the venue that will allow you the most free access to Rob, in a sense. Like, you can count on him being there twice a month, barring some water-based catastrophe in his apartment. But twice a month, we're going to be here almost like clockwork, if a little late sometimes, but we will be here. And this is where all the action happens. This is where all the cool kids are, is on Patreon. Tonight we're live. It's a little bit more stuffy and professional, but when we do Patreon, it's a very intimate setting, and we have a good time over there. So unless you have anything else, Rob, I'm going to take us out.
Again, thank you guys. And I saw Kara say something about Kalina's having a podcast. She is going to get her show back up on our network soon too.
Yeah,
so
it's been on hiatus for years now.
since before the baby.
Called
So
the Earth Experience.
yeah, there's lots of episodes out there you can check out, and she will have her channel back up. So you guys see the Enlightenment Evolution Network in the chat. Subscribe to that if you guys want to get all the new shows coming up. We're going to start pushing all of our shows over to that network too. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Patreon, I've been thinking you've got an $11 tier on Patreon, or is it a $22 tier? I don't know which one you're having.
11 and 22 both. Yeah.
11 and 22. Yeah, so you can get in for a scant $11 a month. Well worth it. Most bang for the buck on the internet, in my opinion. But all right, guys. Well, there you have it. Right now it is 11:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 29th, 2023. Our first call-in show of the year, the first call-in show I've ever participated in since I've been hosting these. And I would like to thank all of you who support Rob on Patreon, all of you for coming here and being with us tonight and keeping the energy so high and the vibration so intense that it crashed the internet 2 different times. And I will catch you guys later. Again, I am William Stowell, broadcasting from Fincastle, Virginia, and have a fantastic evening, everybody.